RPGs are some of the most immersive games out there, allowing you to be anyone you want, from the world-saving legend of songs and fables to the most dastardly of villains with a lust for violence and power, or even somewhere in the middle, stealing some poor shop owner's stock of sweet rolls and fine jewellery before going out on a quest to save their loved ones from grave danger. For many years, I've been a lover of roleplay, from the tabletop of my kitchen to the TV screen in my living room, all the way to the confines of my bedroom. But today we're going to talk about the one I play on the TV. So without any more rambling from me, here are 5 amazing RPG games. Wasteland 2. Developed by inXile Entertainment and published by Deep Silver, the game is set in 2102, 15 years after the original game. You play as new recruits in the Arizona Rangers, a group for aiding survivors in the apocalyptic desert of, you guessed it, Arizona, roughly 100 years after a global nuclear war. There's a strong focus on tactical combat, with you controlling a squad of up to 4 player-made characters and 3 NPCs, each with their own thoughts, opinions, and agendas. The character customization is incredibly deep and satisfying, allowing you to focus on each custom character and making them extremely good at one specific thing, or giving your crew a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none kind of vibe, with those skills ranging from combat, charisma, and environmental interaction. The game is an amazing example of making your choices really feel like they matter, even within the first couple of hours. And the sheer amount of options that's given to the player to complete quests and solve problems is huge. There's a real sense of urgency and complexity here. The reason I chose this is because although I played Wasteland 3 first, the second, in my opinion, is so much more deep and varied. That's not a jab at 3 though, it's a great game and I've played it like 3 or 4 times, but it was definitely made to be more accessible for new players. Which is great because more people need to play these games. But 2 wins out if you love deep mechanics and less hand-holding. I honestly think this is more or less what Fallout would have become if it never went for the direction Bethesda took it in. So if you enjoyed games like Fallout back in the day, or even enjoy it now, but want something a bit more in-depth, then try out Wasteland. You won't regret it. The Elder Scrolls 4: Oblivion. Developed by Bethesda Game Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks and 2K Games, set within the province of Cyrodiil, you're a custom-made character imprisoned for undisclosed reasons. Luckily, the guards that placed you in the cell aren't very good at their job and placed you in the exact cell the Emperor needs to escape during an assassination attempt. And also with great luck, Patrick Stewart, the Emperor, seems to have taken a liking to you and you were just allowed to leave. After events unfold during your escape, you are pulled into a plot for finding the Emperor's son and helping the world not get overrun by a dark cult attempting to open up the gates between Cyrodiil and Oblivion. Which I get is bad, but I could probably be tempted to join them if it meant I could wear their armour. The magic of the gameplay in Oblivion is although the main story itself is your standard plot of heroes saving the world, there's hundreds of hours of content for you to explore without ever even looking at the main story. Want to be a thief, stealing the most valuable possessions in the realm? Join the Thieves Guild. Want to fight monsters and bandits for glory and coin? Join the Fighters Guild. Own your magic and be a powerful wizard? The Mages Guild is for you. Or do you want to be the most feared assassin, making every citizen fear even the smallest of shadows in their homes? Then the Dark Brotherhood will have you for a price. There's so much to explore once you're out in the open world. You can turn in any direction, walk, and you will find something. And the way you level up, although a bit dated by today's standards with the idea of having to sleep to gain your levels, is still pretty decent. You level up by actually doing things. You won't become a master pickpocket without getting thrown in a cell, and you won't become the grand champion of the arena without receiving a few new unwanted piercings. And in my opinion, that is almost always the most immersive leveling system. Oblivion was my first proper experience with Western RPGs. I remember putting it down a couple of times because of some of the opening sections. They just seemed incredibly scary to my child mind. But when I finally pushed through it, I was consumed. It was all I played for a long time, and each time I played, I always found something new. I know Skyrim is probably the most popular, but Oblivion will always hold a special place for me. The Outer Worlds. Developed by Obsidian Entertainment and published by Private Division. After making the best Fallout game in the modern era, Obsidian went on to release The Outer Worlds, a sci-fi game set in the distant future. You are woken up from cryo-sleep by a scientist attempting to bring down a hyper-corporation that has managed to gain control of most of the planets in the star system and has left the citizens of these planets struggling to survive due to greed and incompetence. Which is a really cool story, to be honest. The only downside is that it's pretty much like playing through real life. Anyway, The Outer Worlds is a first-person RPG with a great selection of options for character customization, allowing you to make your melee-focused powerhouse, your shoot-first-ask questions later gunslinger, a silver-tongued linguist, or something completely different. You receive a spaceship, which works as a central hub for travelling to other planets and interacting with your crew, which you can recruit yourself, with each member having their own skills and personal quest you can help them with. There's an interesting mechanic in this game too, where your character can develop flaws from failing specific things so many times, but those flaws come with additional bonuses in other skills. Part of why I chose this game over Fallout New Vegas is because I knew Obsidian had to be included in this list. They are definitely in one of the top tiers when it comes to RPGs, but New Vegas is a bit too similar to Wasteland, and also The Outer Worlds is an amazing game that gives Obsidian the chance to prove its RPG skills in its own IP. Its story is intriguing, its world is bizarre, all the characters you meet are engaging and interesting, and its writing is a wonderful mix of seriousness and tongue-in-cheek. If you like your RPGs with a bit of sci-fi, this is definitely worth a look. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Developed and published by CD Projekt Red, The Witcher 3 is a fantasy setting based on Slavic mythology and folklore in a land called the Continent, taken from the original works of Andrzej Sapkowski, and I apologise if I butchered that name. You play as the not Batman voice actor Geralt of Rivia, travelling with his mentor Vesemir on the search for one of Geralt's lovers, Yennefer. After receiving a letter from her, you are then tasked with locating your adopted daughter Ciri, who is being hunted by the aptly named Wild Hunt. Gameplay is in a third-person perspective, with a heavy focus on combat, which is extremely satisfying. Geralt is equipped with 2 weapons, usually 2 swords. One that's regular steel for slicing humans, and the other made of silver, specifically for making monster jerky, with Geralt being able to use his Witcher senses along with magic and various lotions, potions and sword oils to add extra layers to the combat, with each monster having specific weaknesses and strengths. Although you can't make your own character, the game really lets you embody the character of Geralt and reflect yourself onto him, with tons of side quests and places to explore that let you feel fully immersed in the world. Typically witches are kind of emotionless and do what they do for coin, but you can break that mold and let Geralt feel his feelings and help people just for the pure satisfaction of helping someone. The choice is yours. And let's not forget about Gwent. I guarantee at least half the player base's game time is from playing this damn card game. It is easily my favourite in-game card game. It's just a shame they couldn't keep its charming simplicity in the spin-off game dedicated to it. But seriously, I love The Witcher. I've enjoyed the books, the games, the graphic novels, and although it's not as good as it should be, the TV show has some highlights too. But sadly, I can't recommend the previous games, as they are quite different from the third title. It's worth it if you want the lore and to just be in the world, but they have not aged as gracefully as other games from their time. But this one is a must-play for RPG lovers, and if you're looking for an added piece of immersion, I like to play some of the contracts with the hub turned off so you can feel like you're actually hunting the monsters. Baldur's Gate 3. Developed and published by Larian Studios, Baldur's Gate 3 is a sort of sequel to Baldur's Gate 2, released 23 years earlier in the year 2000, but only a sequel by name. The story, although having a lot of callbacks to the original games, is completely separate and doesn't need previous knowledge of the series. Set in the Sword Coast of Faerun, you can choose to play as an origin character with their own unique background and lore, or a custom character built upon the character creation of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, with a huge amount of races and classes to choose from, meaning you can create the perfect character for your adventure. You, along with some other unfortunate souls, are captured by mind flayers aboard a nautiloid and have a tadpole inserted into your head. Upon escaping and meeting some of the other escapees, you can choose to team up with them in a bid to get the tadpoles removed from your skull. The gameplay for BG3 is built upon a similar system used in actual D&D and wonderfully translated into a video game format. The camera is mostly in an isometric view, with free movement for exploration and turn-based combat for encounters. The number of builds thanks to multi-classing is mind-blowing, and there's so many ways to engage with even the most minute of problems. Thanks to this world already having so much lore built into its setting, there is always something new to find. Even the most innocuous looking place can lead to some wild side quest with weird, wonderful, and sometimes terrifying characters. If you asked me at the beginning of 2023 what my opinion of Larian was, I wouldn't have had one. I was living in complete ignorance. Then I came across it on Steam before the full release and decided to give it a go. And wow, I was hooked on the game for months. I played it on PC up until it released on PS5, and then I bought it again on there just so I could play it more, and now I'm 6 solo playthroughs in, and one with my wife. The characters are so interesting and well thought out, the choices are actually impactful, and the world incredibly huge. Pretty much any of Larian's games could have gone here. I went back and played through Divinity 1 and 2 since Baldur's Gate came out, and they are just as good. But Baldur's Gate 3, especially commercially, is the pinnacle of RPG games in my opinion, and the fact that you can bang your entire party is something more games need. So that's 5 amazing RPGs. Why don't you let me know your favourite RPGs in the comments below? And if you enjoyed this video, hitting like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video.